CARICOM and the United Kingdom commit to closer cooperation. The stage is being set for a symposium on crime and violence in CARICOM, and the Caribbean Regional Fisheries Mechanism marks its 20-year milestone. Welcome to this edition of the CARICOM NewsTime. I'm Tusankin English Francis with the details. The stage is being set for a regional symposium on crime and violence that will mark CARICOM's intention to treat the issue as a public health concern. Heads of government of CARICOM agreed to pursue a multi-sectoral strategy to address the scourge of crime at their last regular meeting in the Bahamas. The symposium will be held from the 17th to the 18th of April in Trinidad and Tobago.
We recognize that to adequately address crime and violence, a holistic approach must be undertaken which addresses economic growth and prosperity, legislative, judicial, police, and education reform. In this regard, the meeting agreed to a symposium to be hosted by Trinidad and Tobago in April 2023 to consider crime, particularly violent crime, as a public health concern.
It has been 20 years since the establishment of the Caribbean Regional Fisheries Mechanism, a CARICOM institution. The CRFM, which is based in Belize, virtually launched its 20th anniversary celebrations on Monday, the 27th of March. In remarks during the event, participants reflected on the vision behind the creation of the regional institution and its 2 decades of frontline service to promote sustainable fisheries development, management, and conservation. Executive Director Mr. Milton Horton spoke of the organization's mission.
The CRFM was established to provide a platform for cooperation among CARICOM countries to improve knowledge of marine resources, build institutional and human capacities, and develop and implement policies, strategies, and actions for the conservation, management, and sustainable development of fisheries resources in the region, as well as to support sustainable livelihoods of fishing communities and contribute to food and nutrition security in the community. Since then, we have worked tirelessly to promote sustainable use of our marine living resources for the benefit of present and future generations.
CARICOM's Assistant Secretary General for Economic Integration, Innovation and Development, Mr. Joseph Cox, reflected on the notable successes the institution achieved in advancing its mission, especially in the face of obstacles and setbacks such as climate change, overfishing, and the influx of sargassum seaweed.
We can justifiably assert that the CRFM has achieved notable success in advancing its mission. Through its various programs and initiatives, it has developed a significant array of regional policy and legal instruments for sustainable fisheries management and conservation, improve the capacity of member states also to monitor and manage their fisheries. The CRFM has also sought to strengthen capacity and empower fisherfolk to facilitate their participation in national and regional planning and decision-making processes. The organization has also facilitated cooperation in research, data collection, and information sharing among all stakeholders. All this being achieved against a backdrop of solid partnerships and alliances with regional and international development partners and the private sector that are supportive of and collectively seek to facilitate the advancement of the fisheries sector in the region.
Chair of the organization's Ministerial Council, Honorable Parmanan Sweden, Minister of Agriculture, Animal Husbandry and Fisheries in Suriname, extended his thanks to all partners and stakeholders who helped to make the 20 years an incredible journey.
The CRFM has come a long way in the past 20 years, and it is only because of the unwavering dedication and hard work of our team that we have achieved these remarkable feats. As we commemorate this milestone, it is important to reflect on the achievements of the CRFM and also to recognize the challenges that lie ahead. This milestone marks 2 decades of committed regional cooperation united to the protection and conservation of our marine resources, fisheries, and aquaculture sectors and the livelihoods of our fishing communities.
Honorable Soboto Caesar, Minister of Agriculture of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, served on the CRFM Ministerial Council for 12 out of its 20 years and is its longest-serving member. He called for the renewal of vows to CRFM's mission and a clear articulation of political will.
It is definitely a momentous occasion, celebrating 20 years. It is a time for us to reflect on the journey, the 20-year journey, 2 decades. And it has been 2 decades of global challenges. We have experienced the negative impacts of climate change and the resultant implications of these vagaries on our fisherfolk and on how we do the overall management of our seascape. It is a period that we must celebrate. We must celebrate the growth of the human resource capacity within our region. It is definitely an expression of our sovereignty.
The CRFM will have activities throughout 2023 to mark the anniversary. You can find more of the launch of the activities on our social media platforms. The Manager for Human Resource Development at the CARICOM Secretariat, Dr. Lauret Bristol, has expressed appreciation for the support of member states who participated in the Teachers Attachments activities of the CARICOM Skilled Workers Program. With support from the European Union, the CARICOM Skilled Workers Program was launched on March 6th in Georgetown, Guyana. Exchanges and work attachments of secondary school teachers, border control officers, and CARICOM youth ambassadors, as well as CSME focal points, are the key elements of the program for CARICOM workers to discover the best practices from various member states that can be applied in implementing the CSME processes. Belize, Guyana, Barbados, St. Kitts and Nevis, and Trinidad and Tobago participated in the first leg of the program, which featured a 2-week attachment exchange program at secondary schools in those countries.
These teachers were fully integrated into the school, into their host school. So I think it's important that we express our deep appreciation to our host countries and the chief education officers and deputy chief education officers, the curriculum officers, ministers of education. We had focal points from CSME through the Ministry of Foreign and Community Affairs, or the ministries with responsibility for that. All these stakeholders, we need to applaud their commitment and dedication to the success of the program.
The Secretary General of the Caribbean Community, Dr. Carla Barnett, has called for stronger commitments by the international community to reverse the impacts of global warming, which threatens the very survival of small island developing states. She called for SITs to have access to concessional development financing based on their special circumstances. Dr. Barnett highlighted these issues on Tuesday, March 28, during a bilateral meeting with the UK Parliamentary Under Secretary for the Americas and the Caribbean, Honorable David Rutley. They discussed a range of topics, including the need for reform in the international financial architecture and support for Haiti. Dr. Barnett said CARICOM looks forward to the 11th Caribbean UK Forum, which takes place in May in Jamaica, to discuss those issues further. For his part, Mr. Rutley expressed appreciation for Dr. Barnett's strong advocacy on the burning issues CARICOM faces. He pledged his country's support in its spheres of influence. The CARICOM Secretariat hosted a tour of erudite officials of the Eastern Caribbean Court and Guyana's Supreme Court of Judicature recently. The visiting delegation included the Acting Chancellor of Guyana's Supreme Court, Honorable Madam Justice Yonette Cummins Edwards, Guyana's Acting Chief Justice, Honorable Madam Justice Roxanne George, and Senior Judge of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, Justice Paula Guilford. They met with the General Counsel of the CARICOM Secretariat, Justice Lisa Schumann, who discussed with them the legal and institutional framework of the CARICOM Secretariat. They also signed the Secretary General's guest book and had photo opportunities with Dr. Carla Barnett as well as with the Deputy Secretary General of CARICOM, Dr. Armstrong Alexis. Thank you for watching this broadcast of the CARICOM NewsTime. For more stories, you can visit the CARICOM News site at today.caricom.org or the CARICOM website at caricom.org. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. See you next time.